What's up, everybody? Welcome to Narco Cop MMA. This is the Lambo Place podcast, episode number 18, UFC London Fight Night. Pretty good card, a lot of juice plays, but this is the Lambo Place, so we're here to give you those plus 300 plays or better. I have two great guests with me this week. We're going to try to dig in this card and, find those plus 300 plays, And I also want to mention that I want to thank everybody that's coming over from Spaces, from Sean Orr and Tajik and Tim's Space. Was a great space with Cody Brundage there. That was a great show. I'm going to go to chat real quick, and Joseph is in there per usual. Daz, Mushroom, all the gang is in there. Jay Fresh is in here. Chad, who's been on my show before, is in here. George, Narrative King, is in here. Everybody's in here. Thank you guys very much for being here. But without further ado, let me bring in my co-host. It is none other than Tim. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Are you ready for this card?
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait. How about you? You excited for it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good card. I'm always excited for UFC cards. I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be, the bottom of the barrel. We're going to have to find those Lambo plays, right, Tim?
This is more like a Bellator card to me.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, let me bring in my guest here. It's none other than John from the Club and Sub podcast. What's up, John? How you doing? Are you ready?
Yeah, dude. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Pumped to do this on a Friday night. It's exciting. I'm ready, man. Yeah, I don't think it's really the best card for betting we've ever seen, but I love these afternoon cards, to be honest. Like, if we could run every single card at 1 p.m. on Saturday, I think we'd be living in a better world instead of me going to bed at 2 and then waking up with my kid at 6 after pay-per-views. So I am pumped to get into the card, but yeah, I'm excited.
Or you could spend a little bit of your Saturday night with your wife, so she doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. I was inferring it, but
awesome. Yeah, let's just go right into it. We got 12 fights. It's not a huge card, but got a lot of big favorites. We'll start off with fight number 1. It's Muhammad Mokaev going up against Cody Durden. Tim, kick us off here.
Yeah, I'm on the Mokaev side, and I like the later this fight goes, the more I think it's going to go his way. So I like the round 2 at plus 500, and I wouldn't mind taking a stab at the round 3 is plus 850, but I'll take a round 2 at plus 500, and I like the round 2 sub at plus 900.
Yeah, he should have the cardio edge here. You're 100% correct. John, shoot some Lambo plays here for us.
All right, you want me to shoot some Lambo plays? Well, I kind of like Durden in this matchup in general. Look, I agree with you guys. He's at a cardio disadvantage here. I don't really have any dispute that he should be the underdog on the money line just because of that dynamic in general. But I think the reality is, like, when I've watched Mokaev, I haven't been overly impressed with, his athleticism. And he's being hyped up as this elite athlete. But, like, I kind of think Durden's on the same level there. I think he's on the same level grappling. And I think Durden just generally, we've seen Mokaev be a little susceptible to pressure and open in the pocket. And Durden is a guy who's going to bite down and go for it. So I kind of like 2 spots here. The first one is Durden in round 1, which is plus 1,600. Because if we know anything about Cody Durden, he's going to come out there, bite the mouthpiece, and absolutely go for it. The other one I like, though, honestly, it's going to sound crazy because the cardio dynamic, but Durden by decision. Like, if it turns out he's just a better wrestler, like, why can't he do what he did to Ayori Kileng, right? And that's about plus 700. So I kind of like taking some big flyers on Durden in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, I brought you in here for a reason, John. You are the underdog king. I know you love your underdogs, and there he is on the first fight of the night. Yeah, for me, I'm on the opposite side. I like this kid Mokaev. I think, I honestly think the UFC is setting him up for success, and they're giving him a fight here in Cody Durden. It's kind of, Cody, I don't want to shit on this guy because he's pretty good. I mean, the guy has good skills, got good wrestling skills. But the one thing that he doesn't have that's good is the gas tank, right? His gas tank is kind of, let him down a couple of times. And going up against the guy in Mokaev who kind of brings in a high-paced fight, can grapple pretty quick. I think, he's the better striker here. And to be honest, like his back takes are real nice when he gets you down to the ground. And I agree with John. Like Durden has very good wrestling, but the quickness and I heard someone else say that Mokaev is extremely strong in there when he's grappling, man. The guy is super strong. So, for me here, like I like the Mokaev sub round 3 prop. It's plus 1,400. Like I was looking at round 3, but like, these books are on it for this fight, man. Like they got Mokaev round 2 plus 400, plus 500, round 3 plus 750, plus 800. It's just that the price is not very good. It's
there's not much meat on the bone at 12%.
There's no meat on the bone. So
that's like
I had to shoot for something like the sub round 3, which gives me a little better, plus 1,400. I just think that if he's to get Cody Durden down in that round 3 and Cody Durden is tired, he's going to be able to possibly get some kind of rear naked choke or something late in that fight. So I'm going to go with Mokaev submission round 3 at plus 1,400. I did get in on Mokaev really, really early at minus 205. That line is completely gone. But you got something else, John?
No. I'm with you 100%.
All right, brother. We'll move on. Fight number 2. It is Elise Reed going up against Cory McKenna. We'll kick this one off to you, John. What do you got?
It's a hard one to feel passionate about, right? But, I guess more or less where I come down is Elise Reed isn't very good. This is kind of a spot where I was kind of looking to play a dog, but it's just when you see somebody who just has no functional grappling ability whatsoever, and she's fighting somebody who's actually, look, my big issue with McKenna and why I'll ultimately fade her at some point is I think she lacks athleticism. She's small, and I don't know how strong she is. But what she has displayed is actually a pretty good top game. I know Demopoulos gets laughed at as being a meme, and to some extent it's true, but she's someone with a very, very dangerous guard that if you're not a skilled grappler on top, can sweep you fairly easily or put you just in dangerous spots. And McKenna rode out 11 minutes on top for no problem. McKenna regionally was a lot more willing to attempt takedowns than we've seen in the 2 fights, with the Big Show. She knows what the path is here. I really don't think she's going to give Reed the time of day here on the beat. I think McKenna, honestly, crazy take, one of the safer plays on the card, in my opinion, in terms of the big favorites here. And, I know Tim's going to harp on it as well, but, I mean, McKenna by submission plus 700 seems crazy to me. Bottom line is for McKenna to pay this price off, it basically is reliant on her being in top position for 6 to 10 minutes against Elise Reed, who has nothing off her back. That seems decent. And honestly, if you want to just play it safe, inside the distance, I'm seeing plus 330 out there, plus 325. That's not bad either.
Yeah. I kind of talked with Tim about this fight here, and I taped it pretty good. And, just off first glance, like McKenna usually likes to stand, like going back and watching, not outside of the UFC fights. When you look at that Canelo fight, like that fight, it's Canelo that was initiating the grappling, and somehow, she got reversed and McKenna got on top. And then you look at the other fight against Redmond. That's another fight where Redmond was initiating. Redmond got her down. She had her back and then slipped off the back, came, she fell down on her back, and then McKenna got on top. So, like, it's just watching her tape, she doesn't initiate much grappling, in my opinion. But to your take there, like, if she gets this fight to the ground, like, we're looking at Elise Reed, and she's clueless on the ground. Like, she's getting herself an armbar after armbar after armbar with the same fighter, and it's not like changing. Like, she's not like catching on to it or something. It's like you were in 2 deep armbars, and then you're still in the same position, and then you fucking get armbarred again. Like, what are you doing? She doesn't really look good on the ground. I know she reversed Jasmine when Jasmine was on top, I think 2 different times in that fight. But it doesn't matter. Even against Hillary Rose, like Hillary Rose had her mounted, and those are just bad looks. And it's not like I'm very high in McKenna, to be honest. I don't think very highly of her. I don't even know if she won that Kay Hansen fight, to be fair. But that sub line, I agree with you guys. Plus 750 right now on FanDuel, it's just too big for someone. And I'm not going to say McKenna has like a great sub game or anything. It's just that Elise Reed is so bad down there, and she's going to give McKenna the chances to get a sub. So plus 750 is what I'm going to go with, McKenna sub. Tim, I'm pretty sure you're on the same play with us. Go ahead.
Not going to rehash everything you guys just said. She absolutely, if the sub line is just, if this fight gets to the ground, the sub line you're going to say is it's going to look like minus 150. So yeah, she just makes so many mistakes on the ground. So 100% with you.
Yeah,
Give me that all day.
That's the only concern, how it's going to get down there. But with that being said, I didn't mention that Elise Reed throws a lot of kicks. And if she just catches one of those,
she struggles mightily with fighters that put pressure on her and get close, and that's exactly what's going to happen in this fight with McKenna.
Yeah, I agree. So we're all on the same page there. I like seeing that. All three of us on the sub prop. It's plus 750, guys. Don't go butcher that line right now. I might add to it. Moving on, it's fight number 3. It is Jack Shore going up against Timur Valiev. For me, I take this one pretty hard. I just couldn't get on a side, to be honest. I think these odds are just about right here. It's minus 110, minus 118. You can get plus 100 on Jack Shore here. But, I'm not totally convinced Jack Shore can take Timur Valiev down. He might be able to get him down, but I don't think he's going to hold him down. Valiev is, he's really he's just ready to get up right when he gets taken down. The guy just doesn't stay down there. He's pretty explosive. I think he's going to have the quickness advantage here. A pretty quick guy, pretty good striker, really good kicks. I mean, we've seen him with, I don't want to go over what he's really good at because the guy's just a good striker and he's quick. But, Jack Shore, his striking is okay. I'm not going to say it's completely garbage, but it's the wrestling game that wins him fights, right? It's a pressure. And I don't know if that's going to work here. And that's why I'm just going to literally stay off this fight. But what I will say is I do think this fight is going to be close. And with that being said, you can't go wrong with getting Jack Shore by split decision at plus 900. I think he's the home guy. I think if the fight is close, I think he gets that decision. So you're getting a plus 900 tag on him. I think it's fair to take that play there. Tim, what do you got?
I've already bet that line. So, yep, 100%. Yeah, it's super close. I've been talking with a bunch of people I respect on this fight, and I've actually been waiting on the line to go almost to evens for Valiev. And it's almost there, and I'm really, really want to bet it, and I just can't do it. I've been there so many times, and I've been ready to press submit, and I haven't been able to do it. So I'm not gonna. If I'm at this point, I'm just not gonna bet it right now. So I just like the split props on both. I'll probably put 2x on one and then 1x on the other, just in case it's a clear Valiev win. And then one of the judges just tries to steal it. So I think that's possible too, because I think that if Shore doesn't have success getting the takedowns, he's going to get murdered on the feet against Valiev and just kicked. But I think 8-1 or 9-1 for both of them is just a very, very good lines and a very, very close fight. So I love both of them.
I will say one really quick thing before I move it to John. I think these Russians are going to get robbed in London this week. I'm being completely honest. They're going to get
Russian
robbed.
Invasion, baby.
No, they're getting robbed of decisions is what I mean.
If it goes, yeah, right.
Might have won, yeah. If the fights that they probably won, I think some of them are going to lose a decision here. But go ahead, John. Give us your Lambo play here.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tim's obviously a split decision whisperer, so it appears he's graced us with the best bet on his spot. But look, honestly, I like the spot for Valiev in general. I kind of think the early Shore money is kind of wacky. If I guess I can see the angle directionally, in terms of why people are betting it. I just kind of think they're not really contextualizing the guys who Timur Valiev is versus the guys that Jack Shore's been manhandling. Timur Valiev is a much better grappler than Hunter Azer, and he really struggled to control Azer in that fight. He ended up on bottom a bunch. And look, Tim said it, Timur is so much better on the feet than Shore is. And I just don't think he's going to get held down here. And honestly, if we're looking for a Lambo play, something that I actually think is kind of interesting, Shore's kind of got this reputation for being a back foot fighter and a guy who circles the cage, which largely is not untrue. But if you look at fights where he's felt, unthreatened, where there hasn't really been a pocket threat against him, he's been willing to kind of bite down and go for it. You look at that Trevin Jones fight, as soon as he felt Jones's power early, and obviously he ended up being wrong, in that fight. But as soon as he felt like he could go forward there, he really just started unloading everything into him. You saw him go at Martin Day hard in that fight. I think short striking is getting dramatically overrated by everybody this week. That dude is hittable in the pocket, man. I think Valiev, if he can like actually dictate where this is taking place, like I think he's going to be, I wouldn't be shocked to see him really pile it on short bad, especially to the body, and potentially get him out of there. I actually don't think plus 700 on the KO is that bad, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. He's an explosive guy. I mean, I know, looking back at his career, like I know there's a lot of decisions in there. But the guy is extremely powerful, especially his kicks. But I will say is that Hani Barcelo's majority decision is not aging too well currently.
It's not. In fairness, but he also beat, Chris Gutierrez regionally. Like the guy, he's fought some guys,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's fought decent. I'm not Hani Barcelo's is good, but
believe me. I guess.
All right. We'll move on here. It's fight number 4. It's Nikita Krylov going up against Paul Craig. What do you got here, Tim?
Yeah, I got some violence bets on this one. I'm taking both sides. I like the Krylov KO is plus, what is it? Plus 2 or KO 1-2 is plus 390 on FanDuel. And KO 1 is plus 700. I played both of those. And then I also bet the sub line on Craig at plus 50 or plus 450 on DK. And I mean, just basically, I think that if it's standing for any length of time, that Craig's crazy enough to go in and get caught, and he could catch a kick or anything like that with his face, and this is over right then. And then I also think that if Krylov just like 66% of his time fighting is in control times, and he's so unafraid against anybody to go into the lion's den with the best grapplers, even when he shouldn't, obviously. And I think he's going to potentially do that as well here. And if he does that, he could easily get subbed. So I like both of those angles. And if this fight goes to decision, that will surprise me very much.
Yeah. John?
Interesting. Different? I'm going the other way with this angle here. I actually kind of think this fight's going to go the distance, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can see the angle, especially on the Craig side of things. And look, if Krylov channels Krylov from 3 years ago, is not going to go the distance, but he has been a bit more patient and a bit less reckless in his last couple fights. You've seen him actually take more of a game plan oriented approach, which we really just didn't see earlier in his career. He was just willing to kind of go to war, go nuts, and try to get his opponents out of there. Now that could also be because he's been fighting the likes of Glover Teixeira, Magomed Ankalaev, Johnny Walker, and so he's being more cautious, and that's fair. But if he does kind of fight, and I mean, I honestly think the optimal game plan to win the fight, just from a purely want to win the fight perspective, is Krylov to just kick him. Literally, what is Paul Craig going to do if Krylov's like, okay, I'm just going to throw calf and body kicks for 15 minutes here? Not a whole lot. And I also kind of think, I don't think Craig is that much of a risk of getting subbed here. And it's like, I could see Krylov also just taking this down, where obviously he's in danger. But I kind of think on the Krylov end of things, he has some upside to ride out top position here. And so, would I say I'd favor Krylov to win favor it to go the distance? Not necessarily, but I think, when you're getting plus 350 implied on it, I think it's something that's like Krylov winning by decision. I would put it like 35%, and so I kind of like the Krylov decision here. I know one book's got plus 400. I'm seeing some plus 350s out there.
Well, John, I'm screwed if that goes to decision. Because my biggest bet is on fight doesn't go to decision at minus 185. It's sitting there at BetMGM at minus 185. It's minus 250 on DraftKings. It's minus 2. I mean, that line's too good to be true, to be honest. I think I agree with some of the stuff you're saying, John, but I think those fighters that he's fighting, like Ankalaev, Teixeira, and Johnny Walker, are so much more dangerous on the feet than Paul Craig is, right? So I think he's going to, just looking at this fight, Paul Craig is a kill or be killed type of fighter. I mean, let's be honest. Like Shogun Rua fight went to decision, but I mean, that's Shogun Rua. That's, that's the ghost of Shogun Rua. That's not even the real Shogun Rua. So, with that being said, Krylov is a big finisher. Like, you look at his historically, like this guy himself never went to decision up until the last 3 fights. And I think that's because of his opponents for the most part there, right? And now he's facing a guy in Paul Craig who's only been to decision once. I just don't see this fight going to decision. I got it. It's minus 185. And I think that subline for Paul Craig plus 450, it's sitting there also on BetMGM. It's plus 450 there. Everywhere else, it's 300 and 350. And like I said before, BetMGM seems to be far behind all these books. But plus 450 for a guy that that's his win condition, dude. Like the guy just wins mostly with submissions. And Krylov's been submitted plenty of times in his career. I want to say, out of the 7 losses, I think
5 times.
Or I'm sorry, out of the 8, 5 of them have been submissions. So, that's a lot. And now he's facing a guy that's extremely dangerous, even when he's on bottom. So, give me the Craig submission line plus 450. I just think there's a lot of value in that play.
Do we have a line here on the Craig no scorecards?
Craig no scorecards. I'm not sure, but I will say is what I do love, and I did play is Krylov decision only is minus 165. I think
I love that. That is how does Craig win a decision?
He doesn't win a decision. That's the thing.
That's like
minus 165. It's on DraftKings. I think it's a steal. I hammered that line decision only because I think if it goes there, it's going to be Krylov all day.
Yeah, decision. What is it? Minus 165. You said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's honestly. Look, the odds are obviously against it going to decision, but you get 1 or 2 spots on that prop week in, week out. You only need like 1 to hit a month to make it worth your time.
It's basically a free play because
totally.
Of course,
it's either pushing or winning. Absolutely.
We say this, and then I sit out. I almost sweat out a split decision with about $1,000. I'd want to keep Buckley decision only against
that was sweaty.
That was not what I expected to happen.
Yeah, it was a really sweaty one. Moving on. It is a fight that I'm not really interested in. It's fight number 5, Shamil Abdurakhimov versus Sergey Pavlovich. We'll kick this one off to you, John. What do you got?
Yeah, I actually, it's kind of interesting. I do I think the prop's gonna hit? No, but I'm kind of torn sideways on this fight in general, just because I really do believe on a fundamental level, Shamil is a much better fighter than Sergey Pavlovich is. The problem really for me is it's just dude, the guy just got viciously knocked out 6 months ago by Chris Daukaus. He was off for 2 years before that. He's 41 years old and historically durable guy is coming off a brutal KO against Blades and then a brutal KO against Daukaus. Now he's facing, a huge hitter in Pavlovich. And that's obviously, I think he's probably going to get knocked out. I kind of question him coming back this soon to begin with. And, that's my guess. He's going to get finished early. But like I said, I do think he's the better fighter. Shamil is a guy who's fought well against the top heavyweights in the world for years and years and years. Whereas Sergey Pavlovich, he knocked out Maurice Green and made Overeem look like Khabib in the first round. He hasn't really, to me, proven a whole lot. Again, I do think just the youth on his side, the power on his side, the athleticism, he's probably going to take Shamil out of there. But something I think is interesting, and even if you go back to his last fight with Daukaus, until he got clipped at the end of round 1, Shamil actually looked pretty good in that fight boxing. And I'm not really – I think Pavlovich is something 12 of his 13 finishes are in the first round. I don't think he has much scope for a finish past the first 6 or 7 minutes here. And I kind of think if he doesn't get Shamil out of there, Shamil seems pretty likely to take over the fight and win it. I like Shamil by decision here, plus 450. I can't say it's something I'm passionate about just because, again, the guy's old as it gets and looks like he's starting to turn fragile. But, man, I'm even seeing plus 600 out there right now. I like that a decent bit. So, yeah, I like the Shamil decision here.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Pavlovich, who the fuck has he beat to warrant him being, minus whatever the hell he's at now, minus 335, 39. Who is that?
It's crazy, man.
Maurice Green and Marcelo Gomez, for Christ's sake, and then completely got destroyed by Alistair Overeem. Is it warranted? I understand that Ibrahimov, he's 40 years old. He probably got knocked out twice in that Chris Daukaus fight, to be honest, 2 different times. But I mean, the level of the other thing you look at, the level of opposition this guy's faced is night and day. I mean, he's beat pretty good guys. He's knocked out Marcin Tybura. I mean, he's beat Andrei Arlovski. Like, this is, if anything, this is a huge step down for him, to be honest. But the thing that worries me is he's 40 years old. It looks like he's on the way out, with all these knockouts. It's not good at this point. But, for me, I'm going to take the, the KO line, man. It's plus 800. You just mentioned something like we don't know what Pavlovich is like after the first round. Not to say that, Shamil has some great gas tank, but if you're going to give me plus 800 on a guy that hits hard himself, and you give me a guy that's, looked like shit when he was on bottom against Overeem. I mean, I know Overeem's top game is good, but Shamil throws some nasty ground and pound when he's on top too. So give me that knockout line at plus 800. I think there's some value there. Tim, what do you like?
Yeah, I don't get the line as well. Pavlovich is basically like a Abdul Razak. I mean, like if he gets KO one or he's out, like you just have so much. There's winning paths everywhere if he doesn't get you out in the first 5 minutes. So I understand people taking a KO shot on Shamil like you guys are. I'll go the other way. I do love that play. I was actually going to play that one. I'm going to go KO2 for Pavlovich this time. Seeing that he gets the first one. I think he gets it in KO1, which is only plus 100, so that's not good enough. And I've bet the KO1 prop for him. I do think he kills him in this one. I think it's kind of a setup for him. But I'm going to go KO2 at plus 650. He's not like crazy volume type guy, and he's not like just going to go out like Ilya is going to go out full rabies style, or Terrence McKinney, where you just know, oh man, this is for sure. All these KO guys that are betting him at minus 200 are going to be shitting their pants, because he's not that style fighter. The fight needs to be brought to him, and then he'll hit you with the counter shot, and he'll hit you with some power, but he's not going to go like just crazy. And so maybe the first round happens and it's a little slow and they're checking each other out. Maybe it connects kind of like Dawkins does, because a lot of the people had KO1 on Dawkins and they lost those tickets on KO2. So maybe the same thing happens. I think it happens in one, but plus 650 on KO2 is not bad. I think he kills him. Yeah,
I mean, I agree with you. I do think, Shamil's basically done, but they're heavyweights, and Pavlovich, I'm not sold on this guy whatsoever. And this, I know somebody put here, why don't you take Shamil round 2,000? Makes sense. But why can't Shamil knock this guy out in the first either? I mean, if he lands a bomb, like they're exchanging, like he can knock this guy out.
Or if he lands a takedown. Yeah, or if he lands a takedown.
Like, I rather it's already a big line. It's plus 800. I don't want to be like greedy and go with the big props. But
minus 300 for Pavlovich makes just no sense money line wise.
Yeah. Brady's in here. DFS by the numbers. What's up, Brady? His show is tomorrow. Best bet. I'm going to be on that. Wheezy's in the house. So is Marcus. What's up, Marcus? Everybody's in here. Tajik, the GOAT, is in here, per usual. And there is 46 of you in here. Thank you very much, each and every one of you. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe, please. It helps out the channel. I appreciate it. And with that being said, we will move on. It's fight number 6. It's Mike Grundy going up against Macklin, Amir Connie. I can kick this one off. This is another fight that, I know this guy Grundy is minus 195, 196. And again, I don't get that line. Like, I think this fight's going to be close. Amir Connie's fought the much better opposition here. Like, guys fought, let's be honest, that Lerone Murphy fight, he was dominating that fight. And then he catches a knee in the second that basically puts anybody and everybody out, when that happens. The guy has a decent chin. He's fought Edson Barboza in a fight that was pretty close, to be honest. It wasn't like a washout up until Barboza started touching him to the body. And you could clearly see that was taking a lot out of Amir Connie. But, I mean, again, guys fought Shane Burgos. Arnold Allen went to split decision against Arnold Allen. I mean, he's fought really good fighters. Shown good. The only thing with this guy is it's his gas tank. Like, it's a big question mark. But is Mike Grundy the guy that really pushes a high pace and throws a lot of volume? Not really. I don't see that in his fights. If it's a grappling match, yeah, Grundy has a decent wrestling, but Amir Khani, if he's on top, he's extremely dangerous. His chokes are extremely dangerous, and if Grundy goes for those, takedowns himself, like he might catch some kind of anaconda or something, because Amir Khani is nasty with his chokes. But with that being said, I think this fight's going to be really close. The split decision, Amir Khani is plus 1,200, and I think on Grundy it's plus 600. If I was to take another prop, maybe it's that Grundy round 3 at plus 1,600, just because I do think he has the better cardio here. And, you're getting a nice plus big number here. And if Amir Khani goes for takedowns and goes all out like he does sometimes, he might gas himself out and might leave some openings for Grundy late. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I haven't touched the money lines in this one on the side, but I understand. I actually understand how the line movement. Like I agree with the line movement, but I wouldn't touch it right now where it's at. I actually really like the KO prop for Grundy, especially KO 2 and 3. KO is plus 850, and then KO 2-3 is plus 1,700. So that really is just a beautiful play in my mind, because I think that both are going to establish and try to see who's the better wrestler, who's the better grappler in the first round. And I think it'll exhaust both of them. And then from that point, I rate the heart and the heart on Americani, and then the lungs more likely, because of the hookahs and hookers that he does on a weekly basis. Is you got to watch out for betting on guys like that. So I think I like the Grundy 17 plus 1,700 on the KO 2-3, and I like the Grundy KO in general at plus 850.
All right, he's going with the Grundy KO. John, what do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, largely with this fight, this fight's a mess, to be honest. And my general lean, had I looked into it a bit earlier in the week, I probably would have bet the Grundy money line around minus 125, minus 130. It's kind of hard to find something to be particularly passionate about here. What I do kind of like, that is in the Lambo play bracket here, I like the Amir Khani round 1, to be honest. It's a plus 900. I think with Grundy, it's there's an assumption that because, he's allegedly a black belt and he has all these submissions, that he's not, really susceptible to getting put in something. But dude, Macklin's, while he's fresh, he's a fucking dangerous guy, man. And Grundy I just don't imagine a world where Grundy decides he's going to stand to have a kickboxing match, because at that point, he's basically tossing away his edge and he's getting himself in a 50-50 fight. And he seems like a reasonably intelligent fighter. So if he tries to wrestle Macklin, I don't think it's crazy that Macklin could out-scramble him early and throw him into one of those anacondas or something. I actually like the plus 100 for round 1 quite a bit. I don't really love much else. Grundy KO is somewhat tempting, but it's the only real data we have, he's a big guy and he obviously knocked down Narimani, but prior to that, he's not really a guy who looks particularly comfortable with his hands, which just makes me nervous that they're just going to be very tentative on the feet here. So yeah, I don't love much, but I do think, I think a lot of Americani's win equity here is tied into that round 1. And so plus 900 seems, a bit extreme to me.
Yeah, you can even get, if you get the sub one, I think it's plus 1,300. So
yeah, it's better.
Yeah, that is better.
And I don't think he's gonna knock out Grundy. Grundy has a pretty good chin too, so
he does.
Yeah, I actually hedged on the sub 1 for Amir Khani.
Yeah, that's a solid play. I might hit that. Moving on, we will move on to fight number 7. It is Jai Herbert going up against the hype train Ilia Topuria. What do you got here, Tim?
Yeah, you know what? I've got a couple. I've got my picks are too low, the inside the distance and round 1 for Ilia. I've bet both of those. I've got a couple hedges, but I think I'm going to leave those up to you guys because I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to pick up the hedges. But I'll take the Ilia sub 1 at plus 310, and I think this is just a clear setup kind of matchup for him, and the fade spot will be on him later on in different situations, but this is just a perfect matchup for him. If he gets this guy on the ground, it's going to be dead. I do like the KO 1-2 at plus 500, but like I said, I've bet the round 1 very hard, and either way, he could get him either way as soon as he gets him to the ground. So How about you guys?
John, what do you
Yeah,
got?
as Tim said, we're gonna pick up some of the hedges here, but I kind of like the Jai Herbert KO1 plus 1300 if I'm being honest here. You know that's a spicy short line, and what I will say, look, I'm not gonna look if Herbert gets put on the mat. I don't really expect him to work up, and I think he probably gets finished shortly thereafter in all likelihood. But I will say Herbert's done a decent job defending doubles in his career, and I haven't really seen like if you rewatch the Moicano fight, the places Moicano was getting him was basically getting the double stuffed and then working into the body lock and tripping. Topuria tends to be single entries on doubles, and like I could see Herbert keeping this in space for 2 to 3 minutes. And look, the bottom line is it might take Topuria a couple minutes to kind of adjust for the size here. You know, he's giving away 7 inches in height, 8 inches in reach. Herbert can crack a bit. Topuria has shown himself to be a little hittable, and a few times we've seen him striking in space. I think plus 1300 for a guy that's got some hands and has that kind of a reach advantage is kind of crazy. And then just in general, look, like I like Tim's plays. The only other thing I would touch, just Herbert KO in general, because like there is, if it turns out he can survive on the mat with Topuria, there's some questions about, you know, what his gas tank looks like. I can't really imagine Herbert winning a decision here, though. So if he's going to pull it out late, it's likely going to be there. But largely, I would go with Tim's Topuria plays.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I think Topuria wipes this guy out in the first round, to be honest. I think it's a setup fight. The guy's he has terrible. I don't even know. I don't even want to. It's worse than terrible, to be honest. His takedown defense is just atrocious. He gets taken down very, very easily. You know, mounted by Moicano for freaking almost a whole damn round. He was in mount. The one thing I will give him credit for is he didn't tap. He survived for a really long time against a really high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in Moicano. So I give him credit there. But, you know, the takedown defense is just terrible on this guy. So I do think Topuria just wipes this guy out early. But the line that's really appealing to me is if a big if this fight gets dragged out and Topuria doesn't finish early and let's say he goes balls to the wall to get this finish, if this fight is standing, Jai Herbert has a massive advantage with height and reach advantage here. And Jai Herbert is a really good striker. I mean, he's got power. You're looking at plus 3,500 round 3 KO, plus 2,500 round 2 KO. Like, those lines, I'm just going to play them just out of principle. Like, I want to see if Topuria is in that third round, what the fuck is he going to look like against a much bigger guy? And that's another thing you got to remember. If he grapples here and, you know, let's say he does get some success, but Herbert gets out of there and he makes him work for the other takedowns, this is a bigger guy he's taken down. It's going to gas him out more. And later in this fight, it's going to catch up to him. And if Herbert is still there in the third round, I think it's extremely dangerous, honestly. And getting plus 3,500, it's just the line that I'm just not going to look past. So,
it's like lunch money hedges. It's like this. How do you not put if you have a ton of money on Ilya like I do, how do you not put 30, 40 bucks on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, Topuria is going to end this pretty early, but I'm also going to hedge a plus 3,500 plates. Like
in that scenario too, the draw's live. You know, if Ilya almost murders him in the first round and then he loses the next 2 rounds, you could get a points and a draw potentially.
I will say I think the odds of Ilya cardio deathing here are pretty unlikely. Like, you look at the energy he used against Zalal, and it took like a solid 11 minutes for the gas to start really going. I don't really expect Herbert to put up that much resistance once it hits the mat.
But a much bigger guy, John. Like the weight.
That's true. That is
the weight that he's gonna. I mean, let's put it this way: Herbert is a big 55er, man. The guy is a big dude.
Yeah, so his takedown ability and wrestling, I think, is like better than Moicano's, and Moicano got him down so easily.
Oh yeah, I mean, this guy's takedown defense is atrocious. Let's not even. Let's not even kid ourselves. But
it is. But I think the size angles, honestly, like really, and I'm sure Sean would appreciate this. But like, if you gave me a 55er with only competent defensive grappling, I would be happy to throw the fade arrow here at +4, +500. We are not talking about. We're talking about like worst in the UFC. Like, this is like Carlos Condit if Carlos Condit didn't have a black belt. You know, like if he had a white belt. That's the.
Yeah. I mean, his takedown defense is the main there's no resistance. It's like fuck.
He and Elise Reed go to the same takedown defense school. It's pretty solid.
Probably. But with that being said, we will move on. Fight number 7. It is the meatball. I'm sorry, fight number 8. It's the meatball Molly McCann going up against Luana Carolina. This one's off to you, John. What do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one because it's like I think we're all fairly certain that this is going to go the distance, right? Like I don't even really object to the goes the distance line here, which is like minus 325. But I mean, if you're looking to really fire something and, you know, as the name of the show goes, win a Lambo here, there's only one play for me here that really stands out, and it stands out fairly obviously, and that's the McCann submission. I don't think Molly can bust a grape on the feet, and I think Carolina's tough. But the bottom line is, like, dude, Carolina is a mook on the mat, man. Like, I don't really rate Molly McCann's submission grappling ability, but look, she did put like Laura Procopio, who's a black belt, in a fairly deep armbar, right? And she attempts 5 to 6 takedowns a fight. Carolina's not a very good defensive grappler. Like, there's, you know, Poliana Botello mounted this girl, okay? Poliana Botello is one of the worst to do it when it comes to grappling. Like, it would not be shocking to me if Molly just cuts through her guard and subs her. So I actually think there's a decent amount of value on that. Again, I expect this to go the distance, but like, I'm getting a girl is going to proactively grapple against a girl who can't grapple in the sublines plus 1200. Like, I'm willing to kind of throw a dart at that.
Yeah, me personally, like, honestly, this is just a pass for me. Like, I can't with good faith give you.
You
guys
only get one pass, Mike. You only get one pass.
I can't give the people with good faith a Lambo play on this. I just can't. I couldn't find anything, and I'm not just gonna throw a dart at anything here. I'm just gonna pass here on this fight. I want nothing to do with this fight, to be honest. Molly McCann, you know, she's probably gonna win the fight, but you know, she fights for your money, yes, but she also fights very damn close in all her fights. Do you really want to lay juice money on her? I wouldn't. If I'm to play her, maybe I'd play her by decision. But even that fucking line, it's probably it's plus 110, I guess. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a stay away for me. What do you got here, Tim?
Yeah, first of all, I'm gonna echo what John said about the submission line being plus 1200. You know, if you watch her tape in fights like she said, she's had way better jits players than Carolina. Like, Carolina got subbed by Lipsky, like in meme style sub by Lipsky.
Kneebar.
Like that's all you got to say. Like, if the fight gets to the ground, now you're giving me 12-1 on somebody to sub her, where she's already been subbed by somebody that's absolutely terrible. So I absolutely love that play. I think the fight does go to the decision. But I see it like you do, Mike. Like, I think that there is a Lambo play that's there. Like, what's the likeliness that she's not, you know, winning the striking great in a really clear battle, and that she maybe loses in one judge's mind and loses and wins a split? And there's no way this fight's that she's going to lose a decision in this situation where she's at. Like, they're going to give her the judge. The judges are going to give it to her. So 6-1 on McCann by split decision is solid to me. I mean, if you bet the points, then you just bet that as well. And then if you want to put a little bit of on the sub, I love all of those plays. I'm on all of those plays. So, yep.
All right. So they both disagree. They found their Lambo plays. I couldn't find shit on this fight. I want nothing to do with the meatball. But I know that there's a lot of people on her, and some people seem to love her this week. I don't know. Moving on. It is fight number 9. It's the return of Gunnar Nelson going up against Takashi Sato. I can kick this one off. I honestly, this is another one where there's not like a huge Lambo play here, but what I kind of do like is Nelson round 2 submission. I think it's at plus 500 range. If you go looking at Gunnar Nelson, like historically, you know, just looking over his fights, most of his submissions in the UFC have come in the second round, right? A lot of them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 submissions have come in the second round compared to only 1 in the first. So coming off a long layoff here, I think he kind of takes it easy a little. Maybe he might not go to the grappling immediately, because the guy has that karate stance. He does strike sometimes. And I think he kind of takes it easy a little here. It's probably not the best thing to do because Sato's only path here is on the feet, and he has a pretty good straight left. But Gunnar Nelson is durable. He is tough. He's the much better grappler. I mean, if this gets to the ground, like to me, it's like absolutely good night. And most of his wins, if not all of them, are basically by submission. But like I did look at, and I was tempted to play the knockout line on him because eventually that knockout is coming because he does have vicious ground and pound. And his knockout line is plus 700. So it's like it's catching my eye, but I just feel like he's gonna sub this guy. So for me, I'm gonna take the Nelson round 2 submission. It's plus 500. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, this is one of those situations where it's the Lambo plays obviously is always plus 300, but this is a situation where like a minus 110 or 120 for a prop is usually a situation where you're saying, don't do it. There's no value in it. And I actually think there's value in the sub line this week, like a good amount. So I don't mind betting that if you're obviously this is like a tricycle play, but bet that alone and bet that because you don't know which round he's going to get it in. I tend to think that it's going to be early. I actually do agree with you that most of the time in these fights he's taking his time a little bit more and he's setting it up. But it's just who is he fighting? And he's fighting Sato, and the takedown's going to be there. And I think as soon as he gets down, he's going to pass through like butter. And it's just not plus one. What is it? Plus 280 for sub one. Again, it's a little bit under, and the minus 120 for the other one. So I apologize. This will be my one slight pass, but I think he gets the sub as soon as he gets it to the ground, and I think he gets it to the ground pretty early in the fight. So, give me those, and I think the likeliness of the sub is around 2 out of 3 fights. In my opinion, if you're doing out of 10, 6 or 7 on fights out of 10, he's subbing him. So that's a good line if you're getting minus 120.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. John, do you have a different take here at all?
Not really. This would be my slight pass. I guess the only thing, I'm not going to say limit your exposure to round 1 because it's like you're looking at round 1 Nelson. What is that? It's not even, you're not even have that much meat on the bone at plus 180. I'd personally probably lean to ITD just because, like Narco mentioned, I just get nervous. Plus my luck with sub bets that he's going to go and just fire elbows off and positionally stop him. I guess for me, it's just kind of like, if it was a better line on round 1, that's where I'd play it. Cause I kind of think if he doesn't get him out in round, if this fight's going to go the way we think it's going to go, Nelson's probably going to get on top of him and get to a dominant spot in round 1. If he doesn't, there's a good chance he's going to get KO'd, to be honest. But I don't think that's going to happen. And yeah, I just lean to the Nelson ITD at minus 150. There's nothing really even sexy here for me.
Yeah. So we're all on the same play. The juice babies are going to be happy because that one it looks like a lock there.
It does.
Moving on. It is fight number 10. It is Patty the Batty Pimblett going up against Rodrigo Vargas. You can kick this one off, Tim. What do you got?
Yeah, I think this is clear setup match for Patty. They're just trying to get him the hype train. They got to keep that hype train going and keep paying the bills. So, the last fight, I think that he wanted to show off his skills and what he's gotten better at. And I think it's time to get back to the basics and back to his roots and doing those jumping, standing guillotines he gets setting up an arm bar later on. That's really who he is at his base. And I feel like that's also not only who he is at his base, that's also what plagues Vargas. So,
yeah.
Those situations, that's a perfect setup for sub 1-2 on FanDuel is plus 370. So I'll take that all day. I've already bet that.
John?
Yeah, I'm pretty much of the exact same mind here and on the exact same prop. It's just if you're looking for a big prop here, it's round 1's plus 170 here. And I kind of think he's going to go through him in round 1. The only other thing I would say is I don't think Patty decision is the worst look ever. Just based on the Vargas fight with De Silva. The problem for me is I kind of think because De Silva's Brazilian and he had his back the whole round, people are acting like De Silva's a jiu-jitsu guy and he's really not. So it's Patty's just much smoother in transition than he is. I think he's a bit stronger and probably a slightly better athlete. I don't know. I kind of look. if Patty gets him down, I kind of think he just gets him out of there pretty quickly, and I expect him to get him down fairly easily. So yeah, I mean, I think the sub 1-2 is not bad. Even the sub 1, if you want to go that route, it's not bad. Yeah, I mean, tie everything to Patty sub. It's insane to me that the KO line is as close to sub as it is. Like, I get he knocked out Luigi Vendramini, but guess what? If he decides to fight to that path that he did here, then the KO line's wrong anyway. You know,
the KO line was worse to start. We got bet down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was nutty. It's still kind of nutty. Like I don't think he's plus 400 even if he stands, or plus 300, even plus 400 to knock out Vargas. So yeah, I mean, Patty sub and Patty sub early. That's the way to play it.
And to be honest, Vargas has a chin, man. Like Zhu Rong hits pretty hard. Landed a bomb on him in that third, and it didn't even affect him. It's like the guy has a good chin. Yeah, I pretty much agree with Tim. I have that bet too. Round 1, round 2 sub. It's a very good line, I think. Patty gets him down to the ground. He's got a huge advantage on the ground. Why mess around and stay on the feet in this fight? Get the fight to the ground and finish this fight. However, Paddy Pimblett, I'm going to say he's probably not the brightest guy in that ring. So it kind of scares me a little. And, he got really rocked. Yeah, I don't want to say really bad in his last fight because it wasn't really bad rock, but I mean, Luigi landed some fucking bombs on him. This guy has a great chin. I will say that.
The thing is, like, I think Patty's a liability to get knocked out, and I see Chad and Mushroom mentioning Vargas KO1. I don't think Vargas hits very hard, and I mean that's kind of the problem for me. Like Luigi, whatever else you want to say about the guy, he actually can crack like pretty fucking hard. Vargas, I just don't, there's a certain level of impact you see with guys that really pack a punch. And you watch, the fight with Wrong. I get Vargas is, shredded, but, he's not really overtly affecting him with the shots he's landing. Like, I'd be a bit surprised by a Vargas. I'd be very, very surprised by a Vargas KO, even if they stood for 15 minutes.
Yeah, and again, that win against Zhu Rong has aged pretty terribly now after seeing him in this last fight. But, yeah. So we're all on the Paddy Pimblett submission kind of prop. Moving on, it is the co-main event. It is Arnold Allen going up against Dan Hooker. This should be a banger. I'll kick this one off to you, John. What do you got here?
Yeah, for me, it's kind of weird. There's only one spot that even has it now, which is FanDuel. But I like, first of all, I love Hooker in this fight. Just flat out, I think he's going to kill Allen, to be completely honest. But what I will say is, look, coming down to 145 might not have as much power as he packed at 55. Allen is shown to be a pretty durable guy. He took a lot of shots from Sadiq. Nothing overtly affected him there. Plus, Allen also is the kind of guy that's going to do everything he can to suppress volume in a fight and not get into a lot of extended exchanges where, Hooker can do some of that serious attritional damage. But what I like here is Hooker by decision. FanDuel's got plus 300. I think that's a very good line. Hooker's going to be the guy that's in his face. He's going to be the busier fighter. He's the bigger fighter. He's fought much better competition. I think Hooker in this fight is like 65 to 70%. And I think the decision line is probably close to 50%. And a plus 300, that's mad to me.
Yeah, I love all your takes. I did late tape study on this, and I love Hooker in this spot too. Like, I was kind of worried about the weigh-ins today, but when I saw him, man, he looked incredible. He looked in great shape. He was shredded. I mean, he's a professional, so I kind of knew, like, there was some takes that, he was 162, and they were afraid he was not going to make. I was pretty confident he was going to make weight, because this guy's a professional. He's been there for a long time. He's not going to show you the scale at 162 if he doesn't know he's going to cut down. That's just my opinion. He knew he had the weight and he was going to cut down, and he looked incredible. But what I will say is Arnold Allen is a good fighter. He's not bad whatsoever. He does have power in his hands. And you saw it, not to say Sadiq Yusuf has like the best chin, because I don't think he does, but like you see the power from him. And to be honest, like, he basically won that fight on big moments, not like watch minutes. Like, he wasn't winning the minutes there, but he won it on big moments. And I'll give him credit for that. The guy has fought good fighters. Mads Burnell, really good fighter. Amir Khani, he's fought. So he's got some really good wins, and he's been on a win streak. But I do think this fight is going to play close. I don't think it's going to be complete washout, but I do still love that Hooker side. The line is off in my opinion. I favor Hooker at about a 160, 170 clip here. So the split decision line is just one that sticks out to me. It's plus 900 both ways. Arnold Allen kind of has the home field advantage here. You're getting plus 900 either way. I'm going to sprinkle one on either side and play that split decision. Tim, what do you got?
Exactly my sentiments at the end there. Yeah, I see this fight the exact same way you guys do. I'm on the...
Uh-oh. We lost him.
Oh, no. He's on the split decision, maybe.
He's on the split decision. I'm pretty sure we're on the same line. We will wait for him to get back. But, yeah.
I really
got anything
don't
else?
think it's going to be a split, though, man. I honestly think Hooker's going to massacre him. I really do.
The thing is, I see what you're saying, but, Arnold Allen's never, he's fought good fighters. And Mads Burnell, for whatever he is, he's a really good high-pressure fighter, good grappler. I don't see, I know Hooker's good, but, how does he wash him out, right? Is he going to grapple him to death? I doubt it.
He might be able to. He's so much bigger, man.
But Mads Burnell couldn't grapple him to death. So what made why would Hooker grapple this guy to death? I don't see it.
I also just kind of think the body work's going to be there all day for Hooker too. To be honest, Allen's open to the body.
I think Hooker has the better variety in striking as far as leg kicks and everything, right? So if it's standing, I still kind of favor Hooker there. But I think the power advantage is kind of on Allen's side, and he just might eke out a round based on optics with power shots compared to volume maybe from Hooker. I think it's going to be I don't think I love the Hooker side, like I said too, because I think the line's off. But
where is it right now?
Fight. What is it?
What is it looking like right now?
You can get him plus 105, I think, range.
Yeah, he's actually money looks like it's coming in on him a bit.
Yeah, it's been bet down a little now. But I'm going to go to the chat real quick before we wait for Tim.
Yeah.
The suspense says, Bon QQ. Yes, there's suspense here. The bookies disconnected Tim's line, says George. Hey, is that a narrative, George? Chris
Narrative
says,
Nation, baby. Let's go.
Allen will bring some pressure and volume, but I don't know if it's enough. We will see. Hooker can point a decision, depends on the octagon control too for a decision. Yeah, John mentioned it. Plus 300 is a really, really good line on Hooker decision. The Hurricanes play Sunday, could parlay them with Hooker for a Hooker and blow weekend. This fucking guy. Marcus always with his little nice comments. Tim has been taken out. Yeah, it looks like Tim has been taken out. But you know what? We will move on to the main event. Hopefully he reconnects and then he will give his take on the main event. But before I move on to the main event, I want to thank each and every one of you in chat. There is 51 of you in chat. Thank you very, very much. Please hit the like. Please subscribe to my channel. It helps out a lot. I'm at 475. I need to get to 500. What the heck is going on? All these winners and no 500 subscribers. That's embarrassing, guys. Come on. But go finish off. Sorry, Tim is back. Finish off.
Sorry about that, guys.
Alan, go ahead. No problem.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I had the Dan Hooker. I'm on Dan Hooker big time money line. Also on the split props for both of them at 9-1. And if this fight goes the way I see it, it should be Dan Hooker just his size just being a huge factor and the volume being a huge factor. And I think he's going to kick his legs all day long. And the only way I see this fight going is by robbery to Allen and split decision. So I did hedge on him at 9-1, but I like those as my Lambo plays. I also like the points at plus. I got it at plus 280 for Hooker, and that's just a great line. I can't believe that line actually.
Yeah, it is a great prop there. That's a Lambo play alone at plus 300. So moving on to the main event. It is Alexander Volkov going up against Tom Aspinall. And I went back and forth on this fight before I did tape. One of my good friends was heavy. He was extremely heavy on Aspinall at plus 125. He loved him at the opening line. He hammered that opening line. He's a pretty sharp dude. And he kind of like told me, hammer, it's going to move. And sure enough, it did move. But like, when I went back and taped this fight, it's like, in that Aspinall versus Arlovski, I actually had a play on Arlovski in that fight. And if you looked at that fight, Arlovski at the end of the first round and in the beginning of the second round started kind of to take over the fight when it came to the striking. Like he was getting the best of Aspinall, which caused Aspinall, you saw him, he went for a takedown. Like the guy really never goes for a takedown, but he knew he was losing the striking there against Arlovski. And if you're losing the striking to Arlovski, what do you think happens when you're striking in the second round against a guy like Volkov, right? With a huge reach advantage, that's a much better striker that has, very good leg kicks and on and on and on. And the guy is extremely hard to take down. If you want to say, yeah, well, how about if Tom, wrestles? Is he going to wrestle? And if he does wrestle, and he doesn't land the takedowns because Volkov does have very good takedown defense, then what? Because Aspinall, let's face it, guys, the guy has 13 fights. And, the guy has never been to decision. Has the guy even been to a third round? No. He's only been to a second round. This is a 5-round fight. Volkov has been 5 rounds multiple times. The dude, has a ton of fights under the belt, fought everybody and anybody. And I just don't see, like, if you're going to play Aspinall, this is my take. If you're going to play Aspinall, then play him round 1 or 2. Do not fucking play him the money line. To me, it's the later this fight goes, the more screwed he gets. That's all I'm saying. And Volkov, I think, can finish him late. And I'm looking at plus 25. I'm sorry, plus 3,500 and plus 5,000 in round 5. Like, I'm gonna fucking play those lines. Like, I know Volkov can go 5 rounds. I don't know that Tom Aspinall can even go 3 rounds. So he was slowing down in the Arlovski fight, guys. If this fight goes even to the third, he's in trouble. But with that being said, I'll kick it off to John. What do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, I love Volkov here, to be honest. It's funny. Like, there's a lot of takes that, live enter Volkov, Aspinall, he's going to win the first at a high clip. And I'm just not really understanding, like, why that's the prevailing opinion, to be honest. I'm not saying he can't win the first round I think the early rounds will obviously be the most competitive points of this fight from the Aspinall side of things. But, like, it's not like you're talking about a guy with some big skill advantage early in this fight on Alex Volkov. Volkov, at least from what we've seen, look, maybe Aspinall's got a bunch of tools that we have not seen yet. But, like, I've seen people comparing him to Cyril Gane. It's like, yo, you guys are fucking crazy, man. Like, this is like, they are two, like, Aspinall's like a bull in a china shop. Cyril Gane is like a striking master and, like, probably the most unique heavyweight we've really ever seen, as a striker. Volkov is a really dangerous striker. He's a high output striker, the likes of which we really haven't seen either outside of Gane. He doesn't discriminate to any parts of the body. A lot of leg kicks, a lot of body work, measures distance really well. Obviously there's a speed concern here, but if you go back and watch Volkov with Harris and with Gane, both very fast guys, he wasn't getting clipped to the head a whole lot. He reads head strikes pretty well, even when he's at a speed disadvantage. And so, like, I don't really buy that Aspinall has any edge early. I think Volkov has a lot of tools to make it very difficult for Tom to hit him from places or it'll make it easy for Volkov to hit Tom from places that Tom can't hit him. I haven't seen any indication that Aspinall can deal with that. I think, ultimately I have to favor Volkov on minutes in this fight. He's a much more proven fighter. He's much more experienced. He's fought way better fighters. He's going to throw more. He's more technically sound from what we've seen. I favor him pretty much as long as he's standing. And the guy's only been KO'd twice in 40 fights. Like, I just don't think a KO is super likely here. So I love Volkov's spot for Volkov. Lambo's spots, look, I think Volkov KO is not bad. He is going to kick the absolute hell out of Aspinall's body and legs. Plus, the dude can crack anyway. He's probably got underrated power. But, as you touched on, Narco, Aspinall was slowing in round 2 against Arlovski. He's going to be dealing with the kind of attritional work he's never seen in his career to this point here. I like the Volkov KO plus 300. And honestly, guys, if you want to go and look at, like, literally the Volkov round props, plus 1,100 round 2, plus 1,600 round 3, plus 2,200 round 4, plus 2,800 round 5. Dude, this guy has been in many 5-round fights. He landed 115 significant strikes against Cyril Gane. Like, Look, obviously he won't have as much later, but Volkov's pretty reliable to throw volume every minute of this fight. And if Aspinall slows down bad here, look out. He's going to probably take him out. I like the Volkov KO. I like the late round props. Honestly, you could sprinkle every round prop, but I don't think it would be bad here.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, I just think on principle you have to play those late round props, just because the guy's never been past 2 rounds, guys. Yeah. And the time that we saw him in the second round against Orlovsky wasn't really good. I mean, didn't look good. So, Tim, shoot for some good Lambo plays here.
Yeah, I'm totally with you guys. I've bet 3 different points in the week. I've bet Volkov on the money line, and I just don't get it at all. So I kept adding to it, and I like the Volkov KO at 350. And then, like you guys have already said, I just packaged it on FanDuel. The KO 3 through 5 is plus 600. You can I'll hedge with the other rounds. Just I think it's easier to go that way. So I'll just hit KO 2, and I already have the KO, so I'm fine there. But I think, like you guys said, I mean, once this fight hits the 10-minute mark, if it's still there at that point, if Volkov doesn't get him earlier than that, like, this is going to be just cakewalk for him, honestly. I can't. And now, again, if this is one of those things where, you're talking about predictive data, it's like, what do we have predictive that we have from him that we can say, like, there's nothing. So, of course, if Aspinall comes out and shows he's got 5 rounds of cardio to do the type of volume that it's going to take to keep Volkov on his back foot, then he's going to be like a champion one day. So at that point, I'll lose this bet and I'll be fine with it. But that's a process over results bet. And there's no way anything that we're looking at predictively says that this guy should be a favorite in this situation. First time fighting 5 rounds. So give me all day.
100%. Like, we're looking at what he's done in his career as an MMA fighter, and there's nothing to tell us this guy's going to look good in round 3, 4, and 5. Like,
I mean, how many heavyweights in the world can fight at the pace Volkov can fight at for?
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing that was so impressive with Gon is, like, I thought that Gon might get him out later on from the same thing and just being able to stay on him, and it was never like that. He just was with him the whole time, and Gon never wanted to really engage with him either. So.
Well, you saw Volkov had success late in that fight. Even he won the 4th round,
Yep.
The other thing I do want to mention is, and this is a huge thing, in fighting in general, imagine the adrenaline dump on this guy going in, fighting in front of the home crowd, never been in a big stage like this, 5 rounds, he's trying to impress out there. Like, the adrenaline dump is a real thing in this fight. And
double leg is not necessarily going to be there against him.
Oh, dude, the end of the first hard round. To get Volkov down, man. Like, the guy is a massive guy, and he's got good takedown defense.
Do you know the things that Curtis Blades would do to Tom Aspinall? Like,
yeah, I mean,
come on. Like, it is. I see people say that he could do the Blades thing. Like, no, he cannot do the Curtis Blades thing. Are you kidding me?
Do you remember what a hard time fucking Curtis Blades had?
With stretching that fight,
yeah, like Volkov, like, it wasn't easy, man. And Blades is a really, really high level fucking wrestler. Yeah, it was not easy with Volkov. So, like, is Aspinall really gonna have an easy time taking this guy down? Because I think, that's probably his best path. Because I get that he's the faster guy on the feet, but if it goes 25 minutes on the feet, he's pretty much screwed.
If Aspinall attempts 25 takedowns, he's going to suffer cardiac arrest and be the first guy to die in the octagon.
He is not attempting many takedowns, if any. I think he's gonna let it stay on the feet and try to outpoint or try to get him out of there. Not outpoint, but try to get Volkov out of there, which is a big feat in of itself. So. Brady says, if Aspinall wrestle here, he's screwed, absolutely screwed. I kind of agree. Like, he's going to gas himself out even worse. And John mentioned, like, those teep kicks from fucking Volkov are fucking nasty, man. Like, he's going to hit those. So
it's also the kind of thing, right, with the teep, and I don't mean to keep drawing on, but like the teep kicks, like, you see boxers like Aspinall, who is a boxing base all the time, just not really know what to do with them. Like, if you're not well schooled in it and don't have experience dealing with a good teep kick, it's really, really hard to close distance against a bigger guy who's throwing them at you,
100%. I totally agree. But it's come to that time of the show that Mushroom has asked us for the Lambo parlays, please. Tim, can you please give this man a winner one week? Because, you know, he might never let us off the hook until we give him a big Lambo parlay winner.
I thought we gave him a winner last week, but I didn't. I actually had a huge parlay that won, but I didn't give it on the show.
Shame on you, Tim. You didn't give it to Mushroom.
I'm so sorry, but those are actually sometimes I want to go for like the really, really like crazy Lambo ones. And that's what I did last week. And like one of my most confident like parlays of the week was the one that hit very, very big. So like 180 to 1. So like this week, I don't want to overshoot myself here. I'm going to go a little bit easier. Let's go with Gunnar Nelson by submission, Paddy Pimblett inside the distance, Ilya inside the distance, Cory McKenna by submission, and Dan Hooker by points. And that is 131 to 1.
Oh, so you don't want to go crazy, but you just gave out 131 to 1. Listen to this guy. I don't want to hear you go crazy then, because if you're giving out 131 to 1 and not going crazy, that's a really good one. John, do you have one? Or
I do have one. I
like it. I like it.
It's a little. This is gonna be a fun one, and it's gonna hit, guys. So
I'm writing it down, John. I'm playing it.
We got the Alexander Volkov by KO. That's a plus 330. We got the Dan Hooker by decision at plus 300. And we have the Cody Durden decision line at plus 650. That one's going to pay 128 to 1.
Ooh. Wow. All right. I'm going to give mine out. And mine starts out with a Craig submission at plus 450. And a Paddy Pimblett submission at plus 180. A Gunnar Nelson sub at minus 110, and a Hooker by decision at plus 300. That thing will pay out 116 to 1.
What is that again? I got to get that.
It is Craig by submission, Paddy submission, Gunnar Nelson submission, and Hooker by decision. It pays 116 to 1.
So you're telling me the Hooker is not going to finish?
Hooker is not going to finish. Why? Did I say it was going to finish?
No, it's a joke.
That's definitely not going to finish. 116 to 1, guys. Yeah, but that about wraps it up. A great show. I want to thank both my guests, John and Tim. Thank you very much for being on the show. It was an awesome show. I want to thank everybody in chat. Without you guys, we wouldn't have these shows. So, you know, it's very important for you guys to be here, interact with us. It's great. There's Uncle Wheezy. Wheezy's going to have some ass shavings tomorrow. He's going to give out. So that's great. And yeah, Mushroom, you better not bother us if one of these 3 Lambo parlays hits. There's no more Lambo parlays for you going forward. But all right, guys, thank you very much. And let's cash our tickets tomorrow, boys.
Yeah, let's